How did this stupidly simple 2D block game manage to become one of the hardest video games in history? Geometry Dash is a game where you dodge spikes and jump over blocks, with levels ranging from something that my 3-year-old sister could beat to levels that took one person 3 years and 850,000 attempts to beat. 11 years after Geometry Dash's release in 2013, the game had earned its creator millions of dollars in revenue and had 242 million downloads worldwide. People were raving all about this game, beating world records and creating original challenges. Geometry Dash seemed like such an exceptional idea, but what if I told you that this wasn't the first time someone had made a game like this? Well, we're gonna have to go back many years in the past, before Geometry Dash was even created. Many of you probably already know this, but Geometry Dash's story actually began in 2009, not 2013, when an independent game developer by the name of Fluke Games released his first game titled The Impossible Game. The Impossible Game had very basic gameplay, similar to its newer counterpart. You controlled a 2D cube and you had to jump over spikes with only one button. It was an extremely simple game and only had one level. The Xbox game was released on Xbox Live and soon became one of the best-selling Xbox Live indie games. By 2010, Fluke Games had already released it to the App Store. You would think that for such a simple game with only one control, it would have a hard time compared to the other games that were trending at the time. But surprisingly, the iPhone port of The Impossible Game exposed it to a rapidly growing industry where games had much less budgets and development times than others, putting The Impossible Game from top 100 to the top 3 paid mobile games in the US. Not bad for such a simple game, but this was nothing compared to the records that Geometry Dash would break. Fast forward a few years, and Robert Topula, aka RobTop, entered the scene. Unlike Fluke Games, Robert had released a few mobile games before Geometry Dash, which gave him a massive advantage in terms of his knowledge with mobile games and how to market them. Robert noticed that while the Impossible Game's gameplay was fun at first, the developer didn't squeeze the most that he could with it. There were only 5 levels, only one before the update in 2010. People would play the first few levels and either beat it or rage quit. Then the game was so short that they would just forget about it. It seemed like such a simple game mechanic, tapping to jump, just wasn't a good idea, and that's exactly where Robert saw an opportunity to shine. After 4 months of development, Geometry Dash released on iOS and Android on August 13th, 2013. The base game featured 7 levels with different mechanics: jump pads, reverse gravity, and the ship portal. Instead of trying to make the first level a rage-inducing mess like the Impossible Game, RobTop decided to make it easy at first, and then slowly get more difficult with each level. This was an excellent idea, as this made it more welcoming to new players, which made them less likely to quit the game before they completed everything. Although there isn't much information about how Geometry Dash went on launch, some Reddit posts say that Geometry Dash wasn't an instant success. But we've probably gone insane if we're taking Reddit posts as authentic sources. If Robert hadn't put 2 crucial details into the game, Geometry Dash might have met the same fate as the Impossible Game. And one of those features was the level editor. Level editors are massive game changers for the games that have them, as letting the players make their own customizable experiences retains them for much longer than having developer created content. This means that the developer can take long breaks in between updates while the community sustains itself. Think of all the games that have community created content like Minecraft, Roblox, and Fortnite. These are some of the most successful games in the world, and a small part of it is because they have level editors. This level editor set Geometry Dash in a much higher position of success than the Impossible Game, because the game simply couldn't die, as there was now a virtually unlimited supply of levels created by the community. The next crucial detail that set Geometry Dash apart from the Impossible Game was EveryPlay, which is now obsolete. EveryPlay allowed you to record the gameplay of Geometry Dash and share it with your friends. These 2 features of Geometry Dash worked in combination to boost its popularity. While the level editor was designed for keeping in the players, EveryPlay allowed the current audience to share it and bring in new players. All RobTop had done was to give his audience tools to spread his own game. He barely had to market it himself. Geometry Dash was updated monthly, with each new update bringing in a new mechanic or level, which is insanely impressive considering that Geometry Dash had such a slow start at first. Actually, a slow start is probably undercutting it. Geometry Dash barely racked in a few hundred players in the first few months, which, when compared to other games, was just not cutting it. It seemed like people had gotten bored with the simple idea of Geometry Dash, and it was going to die like its predecessor, the Impossible Game. Those 4 months of work RobTop had done and the monthly updates for Geometry Dash seemed to be all for nothing. Before we see how Geometry Dash defied all odds, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, offering thousands of classes led by industry professionals across disciplines like programming, illustration, business, music, culinary arts, and much more. You can get started learning just about anything with Skillshare's Learning Paths, which are curated collections of classes designed to guide you from beginner to intermediate to advanced levels on any given topic. Skillshare isn't just for beginners. The learning path that I found most interesting is designed to help you boost your game development skills with coding, something many programmers tend to overlook. And if you'd like to become an independent developer, I highly recommend learning more about pricing negotiations and building your personal brand, as this is an essential skill to help you grow your audience and business. Be sure to try out everything Skillshare has to offer by following the link in the description. The first 500 people to use my link will get a 1-month free trial. Robert wouldn't give up that easily. He didn't stop creating monthly updates and continued bringing in something new. In update 1.3, Robert added leaderboards, which created a massive competitive side to the game. These features all enhanced Geometry Dash's already addicting gameplay, and the small player base loved it. Update 1.1 was another huge milestone for Geometry Dash because Robert added the replay feature. It was the small push that caused the chain reaction for Geometry Dash to pick up popularity. The small player base could now easily start to share their attempts at levels with their friends. Another thing that helped Geometry Dash become wildly successful was that it had a free version. You would think that having a free version of the game would make you lose money, but in fact it helps you gain a bigger audience. Geometry Dash Lite could help tempt people who normally wouldn't pay money for an app to try it. And then once they got hooked with the free version, they would be much more willing to pay for the actual version of the game. Geometry Dash continued picking up more players who in turn shared the game to their friends. It was like a snowball rolling down a hill, and this 2D block game was in the middle of it. By 2015, Geometry Dash had almost peaked in popularity, having several 100 million installations. The initial popularity of becoming viral was starting to slow, but it didn't die like most viral sensations. Geometry Dash had the tools to keep itself alive, even if its creator didn't update it for the next 6 years. In 2017, RobTop had just updated Geometry Dash to 2.1, which introduced the Spider game mode. Back then, this was the longest players had ever had to wait for an update, taking a year and a half, which seems pretty pathetic compared to update 2.2. The game had went from getting updates every month to every few months, and this such of a long wait made players increasingly mad. RobTop had worked so long to get to this point, and now, he was disappointing his audience. RobTop hinted that update 2.2 was going to come out soon, and he released some small previews and even made a small spin-off game on the App Store, showing that the update was almost ready to go. But by the next year, the update still hadn't come out. One of RobTop's moderators revealed that he was struggling on the new Versus mode, one of the main parts for the 2.2 update. The Versus mode allowed you to race against players to beat a level, but since RobTop was the only developer, trying to tackle the multiplayer nightmares was just too much for a solo developer. In fact, I have a whole video about it while I was working on my game Afterblast. 6 whole years rolled past, and fans were still breathing down Robert's back about where the new update was. Players were as hopeless as ever, with some losing faith. But in all these years, Robert had finally broke through the code. On December 19th, 2013, he finally broke the silence. Update 2.2 was finally out. Some fans had waited half their lives for this, and it was finally here. So that's how Geometry Dash became one of the most successful games in history. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you'd like to see me talk more about the struggles of creating multiplayer games, check out this video where I added voice chat to my multiplayer game Afterblast. And if you'd also like to learn more about coding, I have an entire Scratch programming course designed for both beginner and advanced learners. Again, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you liked the video.